Yeah, there's Joe Biden out there in the Northwest at fundraisers this past weekend, flogging his $5 trillion program, right? Spending program. I thought it was buried, but it's never buried. Things in Washington are never over, even when they're over. Here to weigh in is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, who, among his many skills and assets, is actually a member of the Budget Committee. Byron, thank you for coming back. I mean, here he's out in the Northwest, and he's still flogging his Build Back Better, I could use an adjective, but I won't, $5 trillion plan. I mean, is there anything stupider with inflation raging? I mean, he's still doing it.
Listen, it doesn't make any sense to me why he would still even be talking about this massive spending, except that he's failed everywhere in his presidency. So he's got to try to keep his radical base being supportive. Listen, his policies led to a massive record inflation, super high gas prices, a labor shortage artificially created, but he's not done. He wants to do more. And so what we got to understand is that Joe Biden is not serious about the economy that is hurting every hardworking family in our country and fixed income seniors. He's only concerned with keeping his base happy and trying to keep his approval numbers from plummeting even further.
Congressman, don't you know that it's Putin's inflation?
Yeah, Vladimir Putin's had nothing to do with this. If anything, what we should have done is made sure we supplied the Ukrainians. We wouldn't have this problem. But again, Joe Biden was late to the game, but he wants to blame it on somebody else. We all know the deal. The American Rescue Plan, or Joe Biden's foolish plan, whichever you want to call it, caused the inflationary spirals in our country. Thank gosh for Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, because his Build Back Better plan would have made it significantly worse.
Yeah, I was talking to Kevin Brady on radio this weekend. Let's not forget this Build Back Better plan, or Biden's budget, which was, of course, dead on arrival, has 36 tax hikes, 11 on the fossil fuel industry, and it would come to $2.5 trillion. Now, how would that play on our economy? 36 tax hikes, $2.5 trillion, although that's a static estimate. They really wouldn't make much off that. But isn't that a terrific idea, too?
Oh, no, it is absolutely a horrible idea. Gas prices would rise even further than they already have. And the funny thing about this, we were in Budget Committee and they brought that budget in. I asked the director of OMB if the United States had actually seen record corporate income tax revenues from the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, better known as the Trump tax cuts. They would not answer. They couldn't answer that question because everybody knows that under TCJA, the United States government has received more tax revenue as a percentage of our economy than at any other point in American history. Larry, that's part of your hard work with everybody else from the Trump administration.
No, thank you. It's by the way, I was helping my former boss with a speech this weekend, and we got those talking points in. With the lowest unemployment rates in history, with the lowest minority unemployment rates in history. This, 36 taxes, and income tax and the corporate tax hike and the tax on wealth, unrealized capital gains, confiscating wealth. They won't get any. They'll lose money on that, right? They'll hurt the economy more and actually lose money. Byron, but you're from Florida, so I want to have some fun and talk about Ron DeSantis versus Disney, and totally making the right move, in my opinion, on the education bill. Little 5-year-old kids shouldn't be talking about race and gender and sex and so forth. So that's a good thing. Let me ask you something. It didn't get much play, but DeSantis is also, I don't know if he passed this or not, but he wants to take tenure away from college professors. I believe every 5 years, professors' contracts would have to be reviewed, so they don't have lifetime tenure to say, all the nonsensical things that some of them say. I think that deserves more visibility. What you think?
I think it's a great idea, something we should have done a long time ago. Listen, the only profession in our entire economy that gets a lifetime appointment are Supreme Court justices. It should definitely not be for college professors. I had a staff member who took a political science course at Florida State University, my alma mater. She always would tell me about how this professor was always trashing Republicans in the classroom. So I showed up one day, and when I walked in the classroom and announced who I was, the professor got very, very calm, very, very quiet, and then he got back to just calling balls and strikes. These professors need to have their contracts reviewed every 5 years just to make sure that they're not going down the rabbit hole of where we already know that they're going, which is spewing their political viewpoints weaved into their lessons, and they're not being objective for the adults who are going to college, who are going to come out into our economy, run our country, and run our companies.
Yeah, amen to that. I'm just wanting to give that more visibility. You know, Byron, broadcasting hosts and anchors, we don't have tenure. Just saying. Members of Congress don't have tenure. Even senators don't have tenure. Why the hell should college professors have tenure?
Totally agree.
Yeah. Congressman Byron Donalds, you went to Florida State. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's just fabulous stuff. Anyway, you should show up in those classrooms more frequently. Probably change the entire history department or whatever department, poli-sci, whatever it was. Thanks for coming on, Byron. We appreciate it.
Every now and
very
again,
much.
I just won't show up. See ya.
Appreciate it very much.